This is the Sports Timeout Podcast with Tony Caranco and your host, Wes Underwood.
It's that time again, everyone. Welcome to the Sports Timeout Podcast, brought to you by Blondie's Woodfire Wheelhouse Food Truck and Crackin' Cajun Seafood House in Joplin. Find them on Facebook. Search for Blondie's Woodfire Wheelhouse if you're in the mood for some good pizza, or Crackin' Cajun Seafood House if you're looking for some fresh Cajun. Wes Underwood alongside Tony this week. And, let's get it started. We'll start in the MLB. You know, your weak subject here, Tony. But I think you'll get in on this one pretty well. They had lots of moves going on right now. We'll keep our eyes on that and talk more about that maybe next week. But let's talk about the lockout, as the MLB could not reach an agreement anywhere. I kind of saw it coming. And, you know, as of now, it's looking like a very shortened season at the least. But at the most, there is a chance that they could have a deal met by around spring training, but that's high hopes. But again, right now, it's not looking too great. First lockout since 1990, by the way. 31 years ago for that one. But as of many people know, the strike in the mid-90s happened. But yeah, basically the players want a specific amount of money for the rookies, as well as some of the veterans, you know, the ones that get hurt along the way and kind of get opted out of their contracts and have those special agreements. But mainly, out of everybody's mouth, they want the younger players to get paid, to have that insurance down the road. And, you know, I mean, roughly they're getting $570,000 right now, which, yeah, we think that's a lot. But a few weeks ago, I read that teams would also get taken care of in the minor league on housing during their time. But I don't think that's enough. Along with that $570,000, you got to think they're going to have to pay for the taxes at each stadium that they get. They're going to have to pay for all the fees that they have to do and royalties and whatnot, getting apparel to wear. I mean, they're going to have housing issues. I feel like at the major league level, these guys should get that extension and have more pay, and also include housing for them during the season so that when they are in their home state, they can take care of that, so they only have to focus on taking care of their stuff on the road and kind of get that burden off their shoulder. I mean, do you agree here on that one? I mean,
yeah, I don't see why not. I think, you know, economics coming out of me, but
yeah,
I think if you take care of your employees will take care of you, and I think that's where your biggest asset is. You know, I think if the MLB takes care of their players, which I'm not saying they're not necessarily taken care of now, but if you take care of them a little bit better, they're going to make sure to carry the organization a little bit farther. So I don't see anything wrong with it. And I think that's the viewpoint that the organization should have. But I understand, you know, their hesitation. But I think they should just jump on board and take care of their employees.
Yeah. And a fun story before we move on here. But there's a catcher for the Twins. His name is Mitch Garver. And I met his mom a few years ago when they were on a trip to Kansas City, and he had just gotten called up for an injury assignment. The thing was, after he was promoted, he essentially got no pay whatsoever. I mean, out of that money, again, you have to pay those taxes in every city, and that's where my rant came from there. And you have to pay the taxes in the cities that you play in and the states. I mean, really, it's the state tax, but you also have to pay that venue. You have to be there, and then you get paid for playing there. It's just like such a weird thing. And then you have to cover some food costs, and then you have to cover some travel expenses if they send you back down, but they want you nearby, then you have to cover your own hotel and stuff like that. And, you know, they get called up from the minors, and they only have that $50,000 contract. Where are you going to get on that? Maybe extend that player once he gets called up, give him a few more incentives for getting the call up. But I don't know. It's a lot of economics going on right now. It's not really good for the U.S. at the moment with everything that's going on. But seriously, you're paying guys like Max Scherzer, who's all for this deal. So I'm kind of thinking maybe some of these veteran players should dip some of their money that they're earning into these players and invest in the system as well. So
Man, I don't think
there's a lot there.
I don't think the players should have to. I mean, I think the players, some people argue that the athletes get paid too much, but man, the organization is making so much money.
They are
hand over fist. They wouldn't be paying players that much money if they weren't making that much more.
Yeah,
it's
true.
They have plenty of money to spare. At the end of the day, they need to look in the mirror and see who's at fault, and it's going to be themselves. And I think they need to just take care of their employees because ultimately, it's not a good look on the MLB.
Yeah.
For them to not take care of their.
Oh, they're going to take a massive cut this season if they don't play a game at all.
Yeah.
So
which, we know how that works. The people are going to get what they want.
Yeah.
If everybody stays, holds and
yeah, hey,
which I think the NFL should do too. But
yeah, I think it's turning that way. I do. That's the story later to come, but I do think the NFL will have to because if this happens in the MLB, a lot of sports are going to want to do it. So
yeah.
And next we head into college football and talking some more money here. I mean, we're going to talk coaching moves and Riley out of OU. Okay, smart move on his part. OU is going to the SEC. Riley didn't really want it and took a smart job in going to USC. I mean, I love it. Lots of OU fans not happy, and rightfully so. They are. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but USC offered the right deal, and OU didn't want it, so he took it. And you can't blame a guy for that. 55-10 record. Obviously, it's not based on his performance. So something else there that they couldn't mutually agree on. USC gambled, and I think they made the right call on their next head coach.
Yeah, well, I think, just naturally, I would way rather be in USC having a good time than being in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Not having such a good time.
Well, and the team that's getting ready to go to the SEC and get clobbered, so...
I wouldn't say they're going to get clobbered by every team in the SEC, but they're going to have to make some adjustments. And,
yeah. Well, losing your coach isn't a great start.
It's not. I get why people are upset. I mean, not only did he leave, but he's taken a few of his assistants, and he's taken a few of his recruits, the better recruits. But man, that happens no matter who. I mean, it's obviously one of the biggest college football teams in the nation. So obviously people aren't happy about it, but it happens all the time. Anytime a head coach leaves, a new head coach comes in and fires everybody. I was a part of 3 different head coaches whenever I played in college.
Yeah.
Actually, I lied. No, 2 head coaches. But whenever they switched, they got rid of a few and kept a few. And every year, there was different coaches.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens, and I think people forget that they have a system going. Obviously, they're comfortable with Coach Riley. Mm-hmm. I don't blame them for wanting to leave and follow him, and because obviously they're not doing terrible.
Then you get Coach Brian Kelly, 92-39 in Notre Dame. I mean, kind of the same situation. He's been there since 2010, though. The guy makes the right move, in my opinion, as well. I mean, spent 12 years there and 4 years at Cincinnati before that. Had an undefeated season at Cincinnati, and I love the move for LSU. That's where he's going to go, and that's where he's going to be. I feel it kind of redeems LSU after everything that's gone down with Big Ed. So, I mean...
Is Ed their head coach?
Yeah, Ed Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much.
I don't know what's going on down there. I talked about this a few weeks ago, actually. It's just a weird situation.
What do you mean?
He doesn't want to leave,
uh-huh.
and he's gone. I don't think they fired him either. I think something was said between someone, but the whole story hasn't really came out yet.
Go Tigers.
Exactly. Like, how do you get rid of a guy that's that passionate about his team?
Yeah.
So, I don't know what's going on right there. Not much has been released about the situation, so...
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a whole lot of politics probably going on.
Could be.
But, 2 years ago, he just won the national championship, didn't he? Yeah. So
and I'm wondering if it's because he just had 2 down years, and he was the big hire after Les Miles left, so I don't know. SEC is funky.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned being a Mizzou guy. We came in, we didn't struggle right off, but now, after Gary Pinkel left, it's been hard to find coaches to come coach a team.
Yeah. There's a job, well, not a job shortage, but there's a shortage of people wanting to work, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I really like it, though, for both of these guys. Congratulations to them. Is it wrong in some ways? Yeah, but they're doing what's best for their families in the long run. It really is.
And you're not going to make everybody happy.
Exactly. Not ever as a head coach. And lastly, we're going to go ahead and talk football before we get to some bigger stuff here and a couple of interviews coming our way. Christian McCaffrey goes down, and it brought up an interesting question, and that's, should running backs receive a long-term deal? I'm going to go a bit further here with my answer, and my answer is absolutely not, because it's a big investment. Most of these guys have a chance each and every game to have a good shot at this. And you know what? Like I said, extending my answer here, it goes for wide receivers and stuff too. I feel like they get a good enough rookie deal in the NFL, but after the rookie deal, that's when you need to sit back. Has this guy been injury prone? You can kind of foresee stuff going on here with kind of the small ticks that happen. I mean, like with the Chiefs right now, they've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who can't really stay healthy, but he's back now. And I feel like they're going to extend him at some point. Then Patrick Mahomes got his extension after he had the knee injury, and then he's kind of been banged up and weird this year as well. Toe injuries galore for the quarterbacks this year. I don't know what's going on with turf toe. I mean, it's really, really bad this year in the NFL. I don't remember who it was. I know Aaron Rodgers. I know Patrick Mahomes. I don't know who the most recent one is to blame it on his toe. But what are your thoughts on this one? Should they get paid right off the bat, or should they wait and see out their rookie contract?
Well, I mean, I've seen a statistic before, and it was a few years back, so I can't really say it with 100% confidence that what was exactly said, but running backs have the shortest lifespan in the NFL.
They do. They get hard pounded the entire game. I mean,
yeah, and even if you're not a starter and if you're just a backup, I mean, you're still taking a lot of punishment in practice and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because obviously your body deteriorates, and there's only so much your body can do for such a long time, and there's very few. I mean, Adrian Peterson is about the only guy that he's the one that lasted the longest.
Seattle Seahawk now.
Yeah, that's crazy. Good for him, but I think they should get paid a little bit more in the beginning.
Okay.
Simply just because I don't think the lifespan of a running back isn't as long.
And maybe that's why they kind of target the running backs there. I guess I can agree with that, but for receivers and stuff, not as much contact.
No.
Most of theirs is just slipping on their routes and kind of maybe dislocating a hip, ankle, falling down, or cutting too hard and then tearing that ACL. But, I mean, you got to know as a receiver, you got to know your field conditions before the game.
Yeah, I mean, receivers, they don't take a whole lot of punishment. I mean, you have receivers that are, veterans.
Yeah.
You could say, they've been in it for a really long time. Also, quarterbacks, they don't, with the rules how they are. I mean, they're pretty much set for the quarterbacks to succeed.
Yeah.
Linemen, I think they take a decent amount of punishment. Linebackers, but just statistically, I think that the running backs have the shortest lifespan.
Yep.
And maybe it's not that they get paid more up front. Maybe it's something they get paid more on the back end. If you're a running back, because I know there's some rules, if you have to be in the league for so long, you have to be on the active roster for so long. Maybe that rule doesn't apply for running backs.
True.
Or fullbacks, or people that take enough contact. And maybe it's not for everybody. If you're a rookie that's probably going to start. Mm-hmm. I think that should be an incentive that they throw in there for you guys. Not for you guys because you don't play a running back. You look like a slot receiver, but I just feel like it may be an incentive that they can throw in there. That's something that they would take care of them even after their career, because their careers are usually very short.
Indeed. And we now head into the 2-minute warning, which is brought to you by Trackside Burger in Webb City. Come on in and try their chili cheese fries. I mean, they're pretty good. And it will also be a great place to go get other great food for tonight's Webb City State matchup. So go check them out. And we will now talk Friday Night Lights and talk local basketball as well. And first up, we have Webb City heading to State today in Columbia, Missouri. Let's go get it. Game time is set for 7 p.m., They'll be taking on Holt, who is 13-0. Holt could be a tough one, but I have Webb here in a close game. I say they win by a touchdown. Who you got and what you got, Tony?
Man, that side of the state is just weaker in my opinion, and hopefully I'm not being too cocky. But I think Webb beats them by 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Okay.
Man, they played really good last week.
Yeah.
Really, even the score. I mean, the score was closer than what I really thought the game was. And Webb absolutely dominated the whole time. And they scored, 2 later touchdowns. Whenever the game, it really didn't matter a whole lot.
Yeah.
The defending state champions, really, didn't look like they were the defending state champions. Webb City absolutely dominated up front. They did great. I mean, really, they did everything that you could do perfectly.
Yeah. And, well, with that, next we have high school boys basketball, and we're going to talk with some local coaches. And first up, we have Coach Polk from Carl Junction. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
And, well, we'll get right to it. Last year wasn't quite the finish you all wanted, but then you lose a few good seniors on top of that, Alex Baker being one of those guys who was a leader on that team. How do you replace a guy like that, for one? And then, two, what are the expectations looking like for this season so far?
You really can't replace a kid like Alex Baker. You just hope that through your program you have more kids that can be like Alex, and you can use Alex, as a model of what we kind of want our kids to look like through the program. Yeah. And he's you can't replace him. But we it took us a little while last year to get going and to get where we needed to be. And I think as the season went on, we kept playing hard and just want to come through for us. And then at the end, we got some wins and we had some momentum. And then we run into districts and we play Webb City, which is a fine ball club, and we played hard. It just didn't go our way. So this year, it's a different team. We have to, we have a lot of guys that don't have varsity experience, haven't stepped on the varsity floor.
Yeah.
They're hungry too, and they're excited about it, and they're going to get some opportunities. And then guys that have, some of our guys that do return, like Josh Corey, Kyler Perry, and Aiden Bard, they have bigger roles this year. Mm-hmm. They don't have guys like Sincere Williams and guys like Alex Baker, that they can rely on, because they're not here anymore. So season changes, and we're going to play hard and we're going to come after it and hopefully give energy and effort, and hopefully the ball bounces our way a few times.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that there and them being hungry. What's the feel of the locker room so far going into this year? How have the players responded?
I think they're pretty excited. I mean, I think they're eager and they're willing to learn. And we come out of practices and we're like, man, we're playing hard and we're doing things and we're making some early mistakes, but it's never an effort issue with us, I don't think. And we just got to get some guys experience, and they got to get out there and get past those nerves. And I put them on the floor because I have faith in them and hope good things happen.
Awesome. And kind of the last question here, what's this year's hopes going into COC play? I mean, you guys kind of open up in COC play with the Carthage tournament here in a couple weeks. What's the mindset going into that, and are you guys ready for that one?
We are actually not in the Carthage tournament this year.
Okay.
We kind of got out of it just because, it's a good tournament. It is, but you see, COC schools, which we're going to see later on. So
yeah,
we're actually going to, we got in the McDonald County tournament they have right before Christmas.
Awesome.
Which is going to be a good tournament. I think we open up against Frontenac, and there's some good schools in it, and just schools we don't normally see. So, expectations, the COC, I believe, and I might be biased here, but I think the COC is the toughest conference from top to bottom in the state of Missouri. I mean, there's a lot of good conferences, but I think from top to bottom, the COC is top notch. A lot of tough schools, a lot of tough places to play. But what I hope and what I saw last year is that we're going to play as hard as we can. We're going to give an effort, and we're going to come after teams and give them our best. And I know in the COC, in order to win games, you better play defense because there's a lot of good offenses.
Yes.
You can go down the list of good scores we have in our conference. And if you can't stop anybody, you're going to have a hard time winning any games.
Yep.
And that's what it's going to come down to us is we're going to have to get stops, and we're going to have to, play well defensively. And I think that we have the kids to do that. They just need some confidence, and we need to just a full team effort.
All right, well said. Well, congratulations opening up the season. Hope you guys do well, and hope everybody stays healthy and COVID-free this year.
I hope so too. Last year was what it was, and hopefully everyone play and we get a full season in. And you're right, everyone needs to be healthy and get through a safe season.
Indeed. Well, take care, and thanks for coming on.
All right, appreciate it.
Next up on our list is Webb City head boys basketball coach Jason Horn. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. Our pleasure. And so, last year, you guys kind of had things in on a rough note, again, in that district championship game, but 5th straight, by the way. Congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. We've been fortunate, had some really good players come through, and been able to have some success.
Indeed, and again, you returned 5 seniors this year: Vaden, Turner, Higginbotham, Jackson, Briscoe. Pretty solid core there, and then not to mention you add Dante Washington into that mix. What are the team's expectations this season as of now?
Well, we like the group we have back. This is year 6, and these kids have been in the program since junior high, so they're familiar with what we want to do. I think they've had a taste of success the last 5 years, and they're not going to want to take a step back. We feel like we should be able to, compete in the top half of the conference again and compete for another chance at a district title.
And you guys play next week in the Carthage tournament, kind of get some stuff going on there with the COC, and now there's a chance you also might play Nevada again. Is that there? Do you look forward to that rematch, or do you take it game by game at this point?
Well, it's tough for us, with football playing for the state title Friday. We really only have two guys that are varsity guys in practice right now.
Yeah.
So we know who we have coming. I'm not sure what to expect when they get there. So for us, it's just going to be working on us. We're going to have a Sunday and a Monday to practice, and then Tuesday we're going to have to go play Lamar on 2 practices. So
yeah,
that's not going to be easy. And then have a practice Wednesday and go play 3 games in the Carthage tournament. 4 games on 3 practices. It doesn't matter how good your team is or what kind of players you have. That's going to be tough. So I don't know, that I haven't looked ahead. We're not looking at who possible matchups could be. We're just going to kind of take it like you said, 1 game at a time, and just work on ourselves this month like we have in the past. And, if the record's great at the end of December, we're going to be happy. If it's not, we're not going to look too much into it either way. We're focused on improving, and we know, if we're hitting our stride in February, that's what matters.
Indeed. And you mentioned that, and what's the feel of the locker room right now as everything's getting ready to go underway? And, you mentioned some guys are going to state this weekend. You're going to be without some key players for just a couple of games, but, those couple games could be mentality changers for some of those boys.
Yeah, well, we'll have them all. They'll be here. It's just they're going to be on limited practice time. So they're excited to get started. They put a lot of time in the off season, and we've had guys been working on their own this fall, trying to stay as sharp as they can. And they've been through this. Cole Vaden's really seen varsity time since he was a freshman. Turner started making his appearance on the varsity as a sophomore. So those guys have been through this. They know, what it takes to get themselves ready, and they know not to get too high or get too low, depending on how these games start early. Just the fact that, conditioning's not going to be great. We're not going to be sharp with the basketball in our hands. We're not going to shoot as good as we're capable because we just haven't had the court time. But, they're excited. They're going to play for a state title, and then they're going to come in and play basketball. And there's a lot of basketball guys in this group that basketball is their favorite sport, and they're ready to get started.
All right. And, you kind of already poked at it a little bit, but expectations for COC play this year pretty much come out on top. You guys obviously have a tough division. I know Carl Junction talked to Coach Polk, and he said that he's ready to give some good competition this year with his team. And COC is ever changing, and it's always competition no matter how bad the team is. So,
yeah, the top to bottom, it's a great league, and it's a basketball heavy league. The Springfield side of the league is very invested into basketball, and I think over the past 4 or 5 years, our side has really started to invest more in it at the youth level, and I think that's why you see that our schools on our side have been competing, top to middle in the league, as opposed to early on when maybe we were more towards the bottom. Has a collective group here in the West, but till somebody can beat Nixa, they're the team to beat. They're loaded up again, but we think we can compete with them. We're certainly going to try. We were able to beat them 2 years ago at their place. They came back and beat us at ours, and then last year they just kind of ran roughshod over everyone. But I like our group. I think our group is confident, and I think they believe in themselves, and as long as they can keep that confidence and continue to work hard, I don't see why we can't compete with the top teams in the league.
Yeah, indeed. Well, good luck this season. Hope everybody stays healthy. Hopefully you and your family stay healthy this year too as well, and free of COVID, and glad to have you on.
I appreciate you having me, and it's great what you're doing for area sports, and I know we love to listen to the podcast, and thank you for what you do.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it. Webb City varsity girls will begin play tonight in Carthage at the Carthage Lady Invite. Go check them out on Twitter for game times and locations. I believe that bracket will be announced later today. Joplin boys play tonight at the Pittsburgh High School at 7:30 p.m. And then next, Carthage men will head to Monette as they will tip off at 7:30 p.m. And then for the girls, they will be in the Carthage Lady Invite tonight as well. Check out their social media page for more game times also. And lastly, we have Carl Junction boys, and they head to Mack County. Tip is set for 7:30 p.m. tonight. Go check them out, and, we'll look for more basketball coming around the corner. December is going to be a very busy month for basketball as well as January. And then with high school football and basketball out of the way, we have the local sports update brought to you by Jefferson's. Go check out Jefferson's for happy hour and hang out with Billy and his crew. And, MSSU women's basketball will play host to the Newman Jets tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. with the men to follow. As for Pitt State, women's basketball will also play host at home to Central Oklahoma tomorrow. And then the game is set for 1:30 p.m. as well. And then the men's basketball will follow after that also. And that's all I got. All right, Tony, let's get to the fights. And we bring in Theron Crouch. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just finishing up this fight camp, ready to weigh in so I can get back to eating whatever I want to eat.
Here, you got a big one coming up tomorrow, or this weekend, actually. Tell us a little bit about a preparation for it.
Fight Saturday, December 4th there at Buffalo Run Casino for WFC 130. We've been at it pretty hot and heavy. I'd say we really haven't had a break for the last 16 weeks or so. I got married in the middle of that, but never really took off a break. Still got up a little early on wedding day and went and got some mitts in with my coach. So.
And people probably don't realize how much dedication it takes to be great. Kind of what does your day consist of, workout-wise / meals?
So usually, depending on whether I'm in camp or out of camp, I'll speak on in camp for the sake of the podcast. But in camp, usually I try to have 3 or 4 days a week where I do work out at least 2 times a day. So obviously, I try to split those up before I go to work, and then a late evening one. And then as far as food goes, I eat probably anywhere from 5 to 6 meals a day. I'm constantly eating food. Now, not giant portions by any means.
Sure.
But I like that. I like to feed the machine as much as I possibly can. That's what my body reacts to the best, and that's how I can stay the leanest. Throughout these times.
I should take part of that because I need to lose a little bit of weight, but.
Yeah, no. I saw. You know me forever, Tony. We grew up together, but. I used to fight at 145 pounds, and if there's anything I could tell anybody coming up in a fight game or in a fight game is just fight it, man. Fight it where you're natural at. 158 pounds is extremely easy for me to hit.
Yeah.
I don't even pull weight until the day before weigh-ins at this weight. I'll probably make a career at 154 pounds, but it's just not worth. It's not worth in the long run to go down. And allegedly be the bigger man, but it doesn't really matter if you're the bigger man. You feel like crap come fight night.
No, and dude, that's something that I praise to my brother, for example. I always tell him if you don't feel good, you're not gonna fight or wrestle good. You gotta feel good, and you'll do fine. You excited for this weekend, man?
Yeah, I try not to get too excited until I'm about to walk out. That's probably one of my best traits as an athlete. Is I am able to condense my feelings pretty well until right as my walkout song plays.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever want to get too overzealous too early, lose that adrenaline, things like that. I take a pretty long time to get ready. I hardly even really warm up in the back. If it was up to me, I'd pull in the parking lot of Buffalo Run at about 9:15, just kick the doors down, walk straight to the ring, and start fighting, no bell or nothing. That'd be easy. It's just a lot less thinking. But
yeah,
growing up, very rarely did you ever have too much time to think. Before a fight, usually just happened. That's kind of the best scenario.
Yeah, no, that's true. Talking about that, what changes did you make during this camp? Because we spoke a little bit before, and you weren't 100% happy how you performed last time around, but you did get the knockout. And in my opinion, I think your fight was the fight of the night that night, and it was a lot of fun watching you knock out a guy. But you still want to get better. So what changes did you make?
Yeah, so I did a little bit different on my training regimen. I added some more sparring rounds. Last fight, I was nursing a shoulder injury.
Okay.
And I didn't, it was one of those things where I was psyching myself out just to get to the fight alone. That I kind of, pulled back on sparring just so I could at least make it through the night, but changed a few things in how I trained as far as my cardio and rounds and things of that nature. But the biggest thing that I added into my sparring has been just kind of controlling the match itself a little bit better.
Yeah.
Instead of, that last fight, Pablo and I mean, he came out and threw a bomb for the first punch, and, from then on, it was a go.
Yeah.
This time I'd like to come out, maybe touch gloves, and you know how boxing is. It's a little different than MMA. There's more of a feel out period. I'd like to maybe get that feel out period, but obviously, I've proven in the past that if a guy wants to come out swinging, then I'm obviously not scared to plant my feet and fight a little bit too.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. You don't have much of a choice at that point.
No, not at all.
What's the website? Is it just WFC Fights or?
I want to say it's World Fighting Championships, I believe. It's all over my Facebook and things of that nature. It'll be attached to Buffalo Run's website, things like that.
Okay,
so it is relatively easy to find.
Okay.
www.wfcfights.com, if anybody's curious there.
Yeah, and go ahead and select Theron Crouch on there. That way he can get credit for it because, I don't know if many people know this, but, a big chunk of the way he gets paid, if not is from him selling tickets and bringing the crowd in. And obviously, we want to watch him fight for a very long time, and in order for him to make it a career, we got to buy tickets from him. Right before we let you go, what is your predictions for tomorrow night?
I'm gonna get him out of there in one. I plan on showcasing my ability within that first 3 minutes, and I'm gonna do it to the body. Whatever opens up first, I'm gonna throw one of my hands in there and see if I can't grab his spine through his belly button.
Heck yeah!
See how long he stands up.
Well, man, I'm excited. I got tickets today from you, and we're really excited to go watch you fight. My wife and my son are going to go out there support you and a bunch of other fighters. TJ is going to fight on that card. He's the main event. A few other guys that I'm excited to watch.
You got my team, Ben Massey. Autumn Cameron's going to be on there. Victory has a couple people. It's going to be a real good card, I think, for the area. And I saw Marshall just got a spot on there. So yeah. It's going to be good for the area's boxing. Yeah, no, man, I'm excited. I'm glad to see more of people actually getting fights, and I've been involved in, well, not myself personally, but my being around the fighting game for the last few years. It's can get a little frustrating. So I'm glad to see that the wheels turn a little bit faster now, and people are getting fights. And I'm excited for you to fight. All right, buddy. Hey, man, thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule to talk to us. Really appreciate you answering those few questions, and good luck to you. And I can't wait to see you drop that one dude just with a body shot. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys for giving me a platform here. So you guys take care and have a great night.
All right. You too. WFCfights.com. Go select Theron Crouch, and it'll be a good time. See you, buddy.
See ya.
And of course, all these games and events are pending to weather and the current and fluid COVID-19 situation. And well, the music is here again, so let's end another episode for Tony and myself. Have a great and safe weekend. Enjoy some sports this weekend, as well as, some college football upsets, maybe, some high school football upsets, maybe. Who knows? I mean, lots could happen this weekend. NFL upsets, any upset, fighting, whatever. But see y'all next week. Take care.